Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening to Mr. Zahrin and all of the audience. This evening, we will meet in webinar entitled is Mental Health Depression. Before I start, I would like to thank to all of you and welcome you to our event today. Thank you for spending your time with us, and hopefully we will get the good benefit from this webinar. Before I start with this webinar, I would like to introduce to you all of our panel today. First, our panel is Dr. Diana Shahira, a medical doctor that has completed 4 years of medical school, currently working at one of the private hospitals. Next, our second panelist, Mr. Khairul Azwar, is Bachelor of Counselling graduate, has currently worked at UTI. Next, our third panelist, Lina Hazika, that a college student, University Universitas Inggris, in the final year of accounting degree. Lastly, our panelist is Mr. Roslina, which is Lina's mom and a businesswoman. Well, before I go to any further, let me explain first regarding the topic of our forum today. As we know, mental problem is the society has been rise lately. One example is depression. Depression is mood disorder that causes a person sadness and lack of energy. So, as an opponent of our forum today, I would like to ask question to Dr. Diana Shahira about what is usually mean by mental health. Can you provide example and can you tell us what is the main reason of the illness?
Hi, can you guys hear my voice? Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you to the moderator for the question, and also thank you for inviting me for this webinar today. So to answer the question is, what is mental health? Mental health is actually a person's conditions with regard to their psychological, social and emotional well-being. Mental health is often used as a substitute of mental health conditions such as stress, anxiety, depression, and others. So we go straight to our topic today, which is depression. So what is actually depression? Okay, depression is actually a common and serious mental illness that can negatively affect on how you think, the way you act, and how you feel. Depression is a complex disease. Okay, there are many depressive orders, and each one of them have its own symptom and treatment option. Okay, unfortunately, no one knows what causes by depression, but um, the but it can caused by a number of factors such as early childhood trauma, abuse, drug use, family genetic, or conflict, or even gender. Okay, there are lists of depression symptoms such as the inability to concentrate, loss of interest for daily activities, insomnia, sleeping too much, or even attempts of suicide. But we have to remember that symptoms can go, and symptoms also can come and go. So maybe maybe this person have the symptoms occasionally, but maybe the other person have the symptoms all the time.
Thank you, Dr. Diana, for your good explanation. Now we know what actually mean by mental health that defined by World Health Organization, WHO. Like we know one of our panel is someone that's suffering depression. So I would like to ask Dina, how long you take to recover?
Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me. And your question, how do I take years to recover? Okay, it's actually took me about 3 years.
Wow, it's quite long to you for recover your depression.
Yes.
If you don't mind, can you share us your story, how you get your depression and what you feel?
Yes, I don't mind to tell you. Okay, so sorry, don't laugh. Okay, so at first, at that time actually, I am 19 years old during my matriculation college. Okay, I have a problem with my family, which is the problems that actually just elderly need to know and not a student like me. So it's always distract my life, and I always think about the bad thing about my family, and I have anxiety to my friends. It's actually starting with my family always compare my achievement with my cousin. So they think that always motivated me. But actually, I feel insecure with my achievement. I feel that I don't really good in that achievement. So I always think that my friend always same as my parents because they always compare our result. So what did I get? What the symptom that I notice is I always cannot have enough sleep. I'm not interested in any social media that which I really love it. And I just think that I'm a loser and I really doesn't want to meet my uncle and aunties at that time. I'm afraid to meet people and even when to get out to get a fresh air. I don't want to meet anyone. The people always see me as I always laugh and always smile, but inside of me, I really want to cry. I really want to go to the bed and do nothing. So, and one thing that just only my doctor know is I actually have thought about suicide. So at that time, I think that if I go to the university, my depression will be lost and I will lose my depression. I will be a happy student, a happy girl. But actually, it's not easy if you don't have any feelings to overcome it. So what I feel is what I feel is actually I really feel like I'm not good enough. And I always think that my problems will nobody understand about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lina, for your story. Even we don't have any depression, we know how that person that have depression feels. As a mother, when we find out that our child is suffering with illness, our feelings are mixed. I would like to ask Mrs. Roslina, how do you feel when your daughter having depression during the time, and how do you know that she have depression?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. And firstly, thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. So, regarding the question, my feeling was very confused. It was confused because I had been informed. It was confused because there are so many feelings that disturbing me, and obviously I felt sad and disappointed. I had been informed by the lecturer that Lina was having depression at that time. So when I heard that, I am foreknowing about this mental health until it happens to her. Um, she always cheerful at home. She does not bring her problems at home at all. So I thought Lina don't have any problem to share, or she can face her problem herself. So as a mother, I felt disappointed to myself, especially because I thought I had given enough love to her, like carrying a cup of oil, but I did not. Instead, I did not notice about her sign of depression until she was in college. I saw something bothering her. Um, it can show by her expression, but I take it lightly. So when that moment happened, I realized that Dina must must have recover her depression. So from what Lina had said, that I am compared her with our cousin because I thought she can feel motivated, but instead she doesn't like it. So when this happened, I talked to doctor and our counselor to make an appointment to recover her depression.
Thank you, Mrs. Roslina, for your story. I noticed that there is a question that our audience gives. I will ask this question when we have Q&A, question and answer. Okay. Counselor are often the first who know if the person have experienced depression because they often hear their feeling first. Counselor also play an important role in overcome the problem. How can counselor help students having depression?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me. Okay, and thanks to moderator for the question. Okay, I want to explain. Counseling is a service between a client who has a psychological problem with a counselor to help the client with the problem. Okay, among the role of counselor to help student of depression, first is to conduct psychological therapy. This therapy includes psychotherapy and counseling to make a person understand himself and solve problem to overcome the depression. The next treatment is group therapy. Okay, this treatment is a meeting in a group that has the same problem. They will share problem with each other and how they deal with them based on their problem. In addition, cognitive therapy is also one of the treatment given to individual suffering from depression. This therapy helped to um, to change the way of thinking and accept the event happening around him, and help to achieve a better understanding of the meaning of the incident to him and minimize the impact behind the incident. Thank you.
Thank you for Mr. Khairul for your explanation. Counselor have
Welcome.
their own role, just like parents. The role of a parent is also important to helping their children to recover. Mrs. Roslina, how do you support your children during their hard time?
Thank you, moderator, for this question. So, after I had received some advices from the doctor and the counselor regarding Lina's depression, so I took this opportunity to get closer to Lina. For example, during holiday, I wanted her to get some fresh air. So we went to park and took a walk. We're doing besides that we're doing some physical activities such as jogging and riding bicycle, so that she would feel relaxing and forget about her problem for a while. Besides that, I believe going for a treatment is a better way to overcome her depression. So I decided to make regular appointment with Mr. Khairul, since he was the first person noticed about Lina's depression. Even though our family is small, but I wanted Lina to socialize, such as shared her feeling about our family and tells a story about her problems, her students' life. Uh, Even though I am the one that involved into her depression, but as a mother, I would be more considerate to her. Um, as she enter to the college. So instead I cook favorite food for her. So I decided to keep text her with phrases, advices, and quotes so that it will encourage her and makes her feel love, and her love to herself would be more stronger. Thank you.
Thank you for your tips to how to support children during hard time. So we can follow this advice and you guys can take a note about it. So if you so is it your guys curious how to handle your depression? So I would like to ask Lina, how do you handle your depression? If you don't mind, who give your support during recovery?
Okay, how do I handle my depression? Okay, actually, when I'm alone, I always see sharp things, sharp objects around me, like knife, scissors, and it really makes me want to commit suicide. So it's really funny, but actually, what I think when I feel depression is my parents. Okay, they really at that time, if I commit suicide, I just think about myself. Is just only happy. I am the one that happy with everything because my problems has already be gone everything. But actually, my parents lost me as a child. So at that time, I just think about that and makes me really want to decide that I just don't want to commit suicide. So they bring me to doctor to recover me, like what my brother has already said, because she knows because of my lecture. So who give me support during my recovery is always be my parents and my family. Even though they always they are the one that hurt me, but actually they are the one that always give me support because they feel sorry. So that's all from me.
Thank you, Lina, for your sharing about it. As we know, if we have some problem that are not solved, it will give a negative effect. So, Dr. Diana, is there any negative effect of untreated depression?
Okay, thank you for the question. So, untreated depression can lead to physical effect and also unhealthy cycles. If a person think that dealing with depression is bad, actually not dealing with it can even be worse. Depression can negatively affect on health and life. For example, a person with depressed can experience a serious health issues. For you guys information, depression and pain has what we call that similar pathway in the brain, which is why depression patient can also experience everyday pain such as headache, stomach ache, and many more. In addition, it also can raise your risk stroke and more. Would be a person may experience a lack of productivity. This is because as depressive symptoms increase, productivity typically decrease. Okay, other than there is a limited state. Suicide claim the live about 46,000 people. Um, okay, several cases of depression can lead to thoughts of suicide. So it is a very crucial that each one of us, have to be aware of symptoms of depressions.
Oh, now we know the depression have a lot of effect that if we don't treat them. I hope you guys that have the depression go to see doctor or counselor as soon as possible. So some of you guys do not know where to go and overcome this mental illness. So Mr. Khairul, where do parents want to get the service of the counselor to overcome depression problem faced by their children?
Thank you, moderator, for second question for me. Okay, as parent, we need to take on the problem the children face to help them solve problem. Therefore, if a parent has a child depression problem, should quickly take action by bringing in a meeting with a counselor. Uh, who provides counseling center service in order to solve the problem. If at the university provides a counseling service center at the university for student to make it easy for student to get counseling service if they have problems such as emotional, depression, stress, and so on. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Khairul, for your explanation. After hear
Well,
that counselor say just now, we know that have a lot of place that we can go and visit to get treatment. Now I want to give opportunity to audience. If you guys have any question, you can submit it in chat section or just open your mic. Okay, now we have a question from Mr. Zahrin. How can I speak to and help someone with a mental health problem like depression or anxiety? Anyone can answer it.
Okay, I want to answer this question. So, how can I speak and help someone with a mental health problem like depression or anxiety? So, if we have this symptom or we have depression or anxiety, we can seek help from the counselor or the doctor and someone who closer to us, because those someone who are closer to us, who are close to us, was is very is know about us, our life, and we can share our problem to them because they know better. Besides that, um, uh, the doctor and the counselor themselves are the one who are expert in this type of mental health. So we can seek them to get treatment, and apart from that, we have to believe them that they can treat us because they have this knowledge about this mental health, and uh, they will help in a positive way.
Okay, in my opinion, how we want to help someone with a mental health problem is we need we need to hear we hear what they want to story, hear what is what is their problem. We cannot judge them, okay? Because every person has their own problem, have their own reason why they become depression or anxiety or another mental health. So we need to be we need to give them positive vibes. We need to separate positive vibes because actually mental health is not a person's how do we call it? It's not that person's fault. Okay, it may be caused by maybe their surrounding, maybe their toxic friends or toxic vibes. That's all from me.
Thank you for your explanation. So we move to the next question, which is from Amir Irfan. What is your main reason to not commit suicide? This is a question for Lina. Lina, can you tell us your story?
Okay, thank you for the question. It's actually what again? To go.
Your main reason not commit suicide and your main reason
Okay.
not commit suicide.
What main reason to not commit suicide? Okay, it's actually I just think about my parents. Just I already said just now. I always think about my parents, and that's what make me doesn't want to commit suicide. So for the people out there, if you are struggle for depression, just keep talking to other people who you can trust. Believe me, if you feel that you doesn't have anybody, actually everybody's around you are concerned about you. So just keep open-minded and keep talking to the one who you trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Lina, for your tips. Okay, next, our question from Irwan. Did you have any tips how you get treatment without feel sick? Anyone can
Okay,
answer it.
I answer for question from Irwan. Okay, tips. Okay, for tip on receiving treatment from a counselor is that we should have this kind of mindset. Not all problem can be well understood by ordinary people. Uh, friends. So for some problem, need a counselor to help solve the problem. In conclusion, we need to consider the counselor as a friend. Do not be afraid, do not be ashamed to tell the story to the counselor. Thank you.
Okay. Another tip from me would be you need to find someone to speak to, someone to talk to. It is understandable that we refuse to tell or to share our it is understandable too that this issue is a sensitive issue and we prefer to keep it secret, to keep it private, right? But it doesn't mean you have. Okay, research has found that having social support can protect us against symptoms of depression. So, how much information that you want to share to anyone, it actually depends on your personal comfort level. But having someone to speak to talk to, or to share to is vital. This person might include maybe your friend, a friend that we believe he can keep the secret, or maybe one of your family members, or even your partner. That's all from me.
Thank you, doctor and counselor, for your explanation. Last, our question from our audience is, what is the best way to improve my mental well-being during MCO?
Okay, I want to answer this. Okay, how to improve our mental well-being during MCU? Okay, as everybody know, during MCO is always a depression to everybody, depressed because we cannot go out to buy something, or maybe we cannot go out to meet our friends. So that's really makes us easily to go to depression. So how to improve is actually like you guys need to keep talking with each other. That is the first what I want to suggest to you guys. But the second is you guys need to find some hobby. Okay, if you find some hobby, your hobby, you can do it during MCO. For example, if you love to riding a bicycle, you have a compound, not a compound, uh, like a space in front of the house. So you guys can ride the bicycle in front of that. So if you love to exercise, that is how you release your stress. You can do your exercise during that time. So that is how you improve your mental health. Not like always read a book, always always watch a video. That is cannot improve your mental health, but actually can improve your eyesight. Your eyesight will be broken. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you, Lina, for your explanation. So I assume there is no more question from audience. Okay, thank you again to all our panel for answering this question and for great presentation. I would like to thanks to our panel that spent time with us today. That was a pleasure to have you with me today. So it will conclude our webinar. Thank you all the audience for joining us and attending our webinar today. Hope you have learned and enjoyed this webinar. Thank you.